things up with some welcome remarks from Dr. Joshua Marshall. Many of you, of course, will know Josh. He is the director of the Ingenuity Labs Research Institute and associate professor in the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. Josh is a multidisciplinary engineering scientist, educator, and technical consultant with expertise in systems control engineering, mobile robotics, autonomous driving, vehicle navigation, and mapping. He has a special interest in and experience with heavy vehicle automation, particularly in mining, space, and defense, as well as in other harsh environment applications. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Josh Marshall.
Thank you, Amber. Thanks to everybody for getting here this morning on a rainy day. I know it can't have been that pleasant. I saw at least one broken umbrella on the way in. So welcome to the Ingenuity Labs Research Institute's Robotics and AI Symposium for 2022. This is our second one. It's a pleasure to have you here. A lot of the members are here, distinguished guests, and all of you that are out here on Zoom. Thank you for joining us. I know that some of you have come from afar, and we really appreciate that today, making the trip all the way. I know some come from Quebec and far parts of Ontario, so thank you very much. Before we begin today, I want to take a few minutes for a land acknowledgement. And I thought I would try something quite a bit different today, something just a little bit more personal. So I was born in 1976 in a small community in the far north of this continent. And at that time, when I came into this world, the community there was called Frobisher Bay. So at least that was the name that we, the settlers or uninvited guests, if you like, had given to that community. We proudly named it after the English navigator, Sir Martin Frobisher. Apparently, this was the first European visit to this spot, and it happened exactly 400 years before I was born. So why were my parents there at that particular time? Well, my mother was a social worker, and she worked with abused women, and I think that must have been a very challenging job at the time. My dad, my father, he was a teacher. He was a chemistry and music teacher, and he went up there to help the community to develop its school system. Apparently, this was an underdeveloped place. And I know my parents well. We were very close, and I have no doubt that they had, the very best of intentions, but I can't help but wonder whether the Indigenous peoples of that community thought what they thought about what my parents had come to teach them, and whether they'd even been asked. So my birthplace sits on the traditional lands of the Inuit. Their language is Inuktitut. And I'm happy to tell you that in 1987, more than 400 years later, that community of Frobisher Bay was given back its traditional Inuktitut name. It's called Iqaluit now, which means place of many fish. So whenever I hear somebody give a land acknowledgement, I like to think in my head about my own story, about how I ended up here and who I should thank for the quality of life that I enjoy on this land here today. So I'm grateful to the Inuit for sharing their traditional lands with my family and me. And so I'd like to take just a moment here now to acknowledge that the Ingenuity Labs Research Institute here at Queen's University is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee. And we're grateful to live, learn, and play on these lands. And today, I think that's exactly what I hope will happen. You're all here today because you're curious. You're curious about the future, how we might make things better together, and that you foresee that somehow AI and robotics is going to play a role in all of that. We feel the same here at Ingenuity Labs. We now comprise 33 faculty members, more than 90, almost 100 graduate researchers and postdocs. We funded 5 Mitchell professors, so these are 5 junior faculty members from across the engineering disciplines, and we're supporting their research kickoff. Our faculty and students come from all corners of the university. They bring a diverse and unique perspectives to the problems that confront Canadians and the world through AI and robotics. At present, we have representation in our institute from all of the engineering disciplines at Queen's, plus computing science, as well as a range of other application domains from health sciences to law and sociology, and from education and business. And we're putting our money where our mouth is. So if you're a potential industry partner or a collaborator from outside of Queen's or even internal to Queen's and you have a project idea, we provide some seed funds to kick off collaborative research projects here at Queen's with an Ingenuity Labs faculty member and students, or better yet, with a team of researchers. That's what we hope. This year, we've deployed new robots and tested new algorithms in the field towards making life better, safer, and more efficient, hopefully, for Canadian industries. Today's poster session, I think you'll see a little bit of a peek at some of the work that's been done this year by our graduate researchers. We have also connected with the public and tried to share our stories and expertise in hopes that we might maybe inspire the next generation of engineers and scientists. And I think there's much more to come. Indeed, we had a lot of success this year, continuing to grow our collaborative, productive research institute at Queen's, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. For one, the Prime Minister visited us this past July. Conveniently or not so conveniently, I was in PEI, but I know that our graduate students, staff, and a lot of the faculty had a lot of fun showing their work to the Prime Minister and his entourage about how they're making a difference in the world through their work. We started this annual symposium to celebrate our shared passion for the many applications of AI and robotics, but it's a little bit about debating as well and challenging ourselves so that we might better understand each other's perspectives, so that we might question our own biases maybe, so that we might create a more sort of equitable, healthy, productive future for everyone that use the technology that we design. So before I pass it back to Amber, I'd like to just acknowledge that this symposium was made in part possible by some generous donations through the La Fondation Bombardier. I'd also like to acknowledge Ramsey Asfour and Kate Cooperthwaite, Zhao Danju, who I saw in the audience, and Amy Wu, and a whole team of people at Ingenuity Labs who have organized an action-packed day for you. Ryan Garapi is here from ClearPath Robotics to kick us off at 9:30. And we have booths over here from a few of our industry partners. ClearPath, Canova, I think Indro is here. And we've got Amber Mack in the house. So please, a big welcome to Amber Mack, everybody. Again, thank you for coming. Enjoy the day. I'll pass it back to Amber and welcome.